Hi, this is Wang here with more tips and examples on how to live a fruitful life. Today I'll be talking about fruitfulness in facing your fears. Because the thing is that especially for me, a lot of times I tend to avoid my fears. Whenever I know that I have to encounter my fears, I tend to avoid them. So today I'll be talking about how recently I overcome one of my fears. So the thing is that for me, one of my fears is making phone calls. I mean, the thing is that I don't mind making phone calls to friends or, to make to friends. But what I mean by afraid of making phone calls is more towards like business related stuff or talking to customer service. Basically, those kind of, official type of setting. And the thing is that recently I had to do that. So the thing is that my Switch, my Nintendo Switch. I love the Nintendo Switch. I mean, the thing is that I usually, whenever I go on trips or go anywhere that I realize that I need to, to kill time, I would definitely bring one of my handhelds, and including the Switch. Usually the Switch a lot, just because I love Nintendo and I love the Switch very much. And the thing is that one time when I went out, I basically went out and realized that I supposedly lost it. When I got back home, I couldn't find my Switch. And I looked everywhere, I couldn't find it. And I was like, oh crap, because the thing is that, like I've had my Switch since day one, back in 2 years ago, back in 2017. And, there were a lot of games in which I developed a lot of time and energy towards a lot of games, and including Smash Bros, right? Because the thing is that Smash Bros Ultimate, like you start out with with the original Smash 64 8-character roster, and then you basically slowly unlock like 70 of them, 70 characters. It's just a lot of work. And some other games is also like I already finished the main story, but like I wanted to like to one day maybe revisit to like 100% them, and now I have to start everything all over. My pain, right? But then the thing is that I need my Switch. My Switch is very important to me, that I had to quickly, go like rebuy my Switch if I realized that I lost one. So the thing is that I went to Target to rebuy my Switch. One of the reasons I pick the Target, Target is their return policy. Because the thing is that whenever I buy consoles, I usually go to Target or Best Buy or even Fry's. Why? Because the thing is that the return policy is very lenient. They're much more lenient, compared to GameStop. Because the thing is that like the return policy, like for example in Target, like don't quote me on this, but like usually as long as you return the item, as long as you put the package all together and return the item within the time frame that you can return it. I don't remember if it's like 30 or 90 days. I mean, don't quote me on that, but basically as long as you return it within the days specified, and even like Best Buy, it says 15 days, 2 weeks. As long as even if you open the products up and then you realize that you don't like it, you're not satisfied with it, as long as at least from my experience, is that as long as I repackage everything back, and return it, they would accept the full refund. So that's my mindset into getting a Switch over a Target, was that I still felt that there might be this like 0.00001% chance that I just misplaced my Switch in the house. And in the meantime, what I did also is that I deactivated my primary console, because the thing is that when the thing is that for me, I had like all my personal information on my Switch, like like credit card thing, just in case I want to like download certain digital only games or whatever it is, like I didn't want other people to access my account and see my personal information, use my personal information for their own good. So I deactivated the primary console, and that's when it started to run into problem, because the thing is that a few days later I found my Switch. It has literally been lying on my shelf for a few days without me noticing. And how did I find out of it? Because thankfully somebody contacted me about wanting to buy one of my games, because I mean, like in many videos I've said that I've done reselling, so people constantly buy my games. But anyways, somebody contacted me to buy my games, and I have this bin where I basically put all the things that I want to resell, so in the bin. And so then the thing was that I was gonna go there to fetch out the thing that the person wanted to buy. And just when that happened, I happened to glance on my shelf and saw my Nintendo Switch. That it has been lying there for a few days without me noticing, and I went to all the trouble to go to Target and rebuy my console. Yeah. So the thing is that what I didn't realize is that the thing about how Nintendo works, is that you typically log into your user and your own personal account. But the thing was that when I started to log in, it didn't ask if I wanted to set back my own Switch, my own personal Switch, back as primary. So I assumed that it automatically syncs as primary, and as a result, without deactivating the primary console on the new Switch that I just bought, I just straightly went to Target and returned the console. But then the thing was that what I realized is that my old console no longer was primary. How I figured that out was ever since I reused my old Switch, I always, whenever I try to load a game, it always would say checking if software can be played. And I was really puzzled because I never had that happen before on my Switch. So then what I did was I googled it up, and I found out that the reason they did that was that my console was no longer synced as my primary console. And one of the things they do that is that if you have a non-primary console, like let's say you go to your friend's Switch and then you log in. You can still access your games, but the reason they check if software can be played, basically what it is that for any downloaded games or any DLCs, DLC stuffs, you cannot access those stuffs unless you have some sort of internet connection. That's what I realized. And then so I was like, oh shoot, so I have to re-register my found Switch, my original Switch, back to as my primary console. However, I found out that I could not do that because the thing is, I tried to go revisit the web where I deactivated the primary console when I thought my switch was stolen, and then basically they said that you only can use that feature once a year. So then I realized that, oh shoot, now I have to call customer service, Nintendo customer service. So the thing is that in the past, whenever I had to call customer service, I sometimes would ask advice from my dad, and have my dad listen to me side by side to make sure I don't make a mistake, But then I realized this time that I didn't want to do that. Why? Because the thing is that I felt that it's about time for me to overcome my fear. Overcome my fear of being on a phone call and talking to a customer service rep. So that's what I did. I overcome my fear. I just called and just explained to the rep everything clearly about my problem. And the thing was that I realized that the rep was really friendly and then just within a few minutes basically restored my switch back to its primary setting, primary console, as my primary console. So I was really happy that I overcame my fear by myself, and I realized that that's the only way. When you have fear, in order to live a fruitful life while being fearful about something, is to just face the fear by itself. Face the fear by itself, because the thing is that I can say that this time, ever since I made that call, I felt so free. I felt that I was capable. I felt that I felt that I no longer had the fear, of making more phone calls, to customer service or whatever it is, for help. I now feel a lot more confident in myself. So yeah, this is all I have for today. If you want to know more tips and examples on how to live a fruitful life, please feel free to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.